Mercy.
Celebrating 60 years of playing the soundtracks to your life. And we're still grooving with you.
Mama said you can't hurry love.
KWJB, Canton, Wills Point, Van, Mineola, and all East Texas.
Gotta take it easy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year. We're about to kick off the Huddle Show. Today, I actually have the counselor with me and the Godfather here, and they're going to be breaking down the opening season. It's like deer season around here right now with football getting ready. But hold on, we want to tell you we're actually out at Van Zant Barbecue and Catering. They are sponsoring the show. It's on the corner of Buffalo and 64, which is what street?
Dallas Street.
Dallas
Street in Dallas and Buffalo.
Yeah,
Street.
corner of Buffalo and Dallas right here. You can't miss it. There's a car out there with the KWJB stickers on it. Come on by and see us and try some of this new great barbecue that we're going to be sampling here in a little bit. In the meantime, here's a couple of things from our sponsors that you need to hear.
Be sure to tune in each Tuesday night during the football season for the KWJB Huddle Show. You are invited to join the Buzz Brothers, David Barber, and DJ Penn at 6 p.m. at the Van Zant Barbecue and Catering on the Square in Canton to discuss Van Zant County football.
Here. There we go.
There you
All
go.
right. I finally found myself.
I think you were talking through my mic.
I was lost, but now I'm found. All right. So Van Zant Barbecue and Catering, that's where we're at. They're sponsoring the Huddle Show tonight, and I'm going to let the Godfather and the counselor take it over.
Well, thank you, Ken. Good to be back to talk about football. And it's an exciting time for players, coaches, everyone involved with the various high school football programs. And it's great to be here together again. Now, Joel, we are missing a member of our team tonight. T.A. Hale is not with us tonight. He'll be back next week. I'm not sure where he is. I heard a rumor. Don't know if there's anything to it that he was last seen at a Taylor Swift concert overseas.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know.
Last year it was the Eagles. I could swallow that. If he's overseas with Taylor.
Yeah. Well,
unless there's a Kelsey hanging out with him,
I don't
that
know.
might be acceptable.
Yeah, but we're not sure where T.A. is, but we know he will be back for the Canton Eagle broadcast Friday night with Buzz Brothers. So we look forward to having him back here on the show next week. But in the meantime, it is time to talk Van Zant County football. And, Joel, I know you have been already making some notes here ready to go, so I'm just going to turn it over to you first. Which team would you like to discuss first?
Well, you heard when I walked in the door, I was playing – it's a kind of a Christmas song, but I think it's better at the start of football season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Isn't football great? I mean,
yeah.
I'm sitting here. We're all sitting at the table again.
That's right.
Doesn't matter what your woes were of the day.
Nope.
We're fixing to come in here and we're fixing to hang our emotions on a bunch of high school kids.
There you go.
Don't you love that?
They don't understand the weight that they carry.
They have no – I mean, we all get used to having the ups and downs on Sundays, and even on Saturday, you sometimes you're like, well, he's a college kid. I love high school football because it really is where everybody gets a chance to try to put – especially in rural areas like Van Zant County. You've got kids all over this county that as far as athletically, this is their best time. This is the time that I mean, I'm 50 years old, and some of my most fond memories I'll talk about on the radio later this year when we talk about Edgewood and Grant Saline playing. I've already been mouthing back and forth with Paul Cates and the Bulldog radio guys, and we're coming up on, it's not this year, but in the next couple of years or so, it'll be 100 years that Grant Saline and Edgewood have been playing. And I know that Van and Grant Saline played. Have started playing longer ago than that. It's just we're not really the same size anymore. But I obviously I'm talking about Grant Saline first. I texted Coach Drennan today. He gave me just a little blurb, and I'm going to read it to you. And then I want him to see if he can come over here. I know they have a bye the week of the Salt Festival. Actually, that's pretty good for Grant Saline. So that's the last weekend in September. So I'm going to see if I can't convince him to come over here and talk to us for a little bit. He says we're looking forward to this season. I've got a great group of returning starters on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. However, we're thin in numbers, and we need to stay healthy. And this coming week, they're playing Cooper, and I know that y'all know there's a couple of guys that are kind of famous, or at least they used to be, that came from Cooper. Cooper's smaller than Grand Saline. I'm not sure where they're ranked right now. I'm still waiting on my Harris rating poll to come in, but I know they're always somewhere near the top 25, maybe even top 10 this year, and that's who Grand Saline's playing this coming Friday, and it's going to be an away game. Cooper's fast and physical, says we'll have to play really well to win the game. They run the option game, so we'll have to play good sound assignment defense. The good thing about, high school football, sometimes when he talks about assignment defense, it's easier for a kid to just say, I've got to go hit that guy. And I'm hoping that's what he's talking about here, and that Grand Saline's ready to do that this coming Friday night. Defensively, Cooper runs a true split, and their defensive line's huge and come off the ball well. That doesn't sound great, but the one thing, and he's not saying it here, I think Grand Saline is about as prepared as they've been in a while. Grand Saline lost some good quality seniors last year. Butterfield, y'all heard me talk about him. Kid played since he was a freshman. He is now at Howard Payne and playing ball. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. He had his knee surgery. He missed part of the season last year, but he's off playing college ball. So now at Grand Saline, and let me open my little folder here, and I'll give you some names of some kids that are coming back that have got me kind of excited. The quarterback over there, who was a sophomore last year, his name's Jet Taylor. He was an all-Smoky selection last year at Smoky.com. He's a sports writer. He had 167 rushes for 1,466 yards and 17 touchdowns. The statistic I don't have, for anybody who's a quarterback enthusiast, he was 66 of 29 last year for 1,313 yards. He had 12 touchdowns. I don't know how many picks he threw, but I don't think it was very many. But I'll if that's a good statistic, I'll tell you about it next week. If it's bad, just Jet, don't worry about it. Grand Saline's bringing back some seniors. Blaine Thompson is a senior cornerback wide receiver. He's 6 foot 186, so you got some size there. I'll get to some of your other seniors, but a name that we've talked about here on the Huddle show, and it's not just this one kid, but Colton Prox is a wide receiver. He's a sophomore. He started as a freshman last year. He's 6'3", 170. If this kid believes and does what I think everybody else has watched him and is expecting him to do, he is going to be somebody to reckon with on the football field. That's a lot to put on a sophomore, but he has all the tangibles. I mean, you just look at him, he's got it. It's a matter of him putting it all together. He's done well. He makes some crazy acrobatic catches. He's physical. He's tall. He just needs to get some age on him. Trevor Green's a senior, tight end, defensive end. He is 6'4", 200. I mentioned Jet Taylor, the quarterback. He's 6'1", 193 pounds. There's a senior, Francisco Torres. He's defensive end. He's 6 foot 200. The next kid, I do not see his height and weight on here, but his name is Pedro Elzalde, and that's a kid who I've been talking about since he was a sophomore. He's not huge, but he just loves to hit. If the problem with Pedro is sometimes he hits when he's not supposed to, and that at the wrong time in the wrong situation with the momentum, sometimes that's just a bad thing. If it's kind of like on Major League, if somebody can teach that kid some control, he's going to be really good.
Right.
So once he gets to where he's hitting people at the right time, which he does, he just needs to stop hitting when he's not supposed to. That kid is going to be incredible and has been. His brother played in an all-star game last year, and I don't have which one it is here, but he was really good too and graduated. Colt Boyd's another senior. He's middle linebacker, running back. He is, if I remember correct, he is the running back that had the ball that, according to the referee, was stopped just short of the goal line on the extra point when Edgewood beat Grand Saline at the end of the game last year. He is a big, physical kid. And at Grand Saline, and a lot of schools, he's just got just the right amount of dirty meanness to him. He loves to hit. He loves the scrum. He loves the pile. He's a good kid. Just a good football player for a kid. Gabe Lewis is a junior. He's played since he was a freshman. He's coming back. Carson Brown, he's a senior. He's been playing the last 3 years. I just feel really good about the kids that we have coming back if they can just stay healthy. And I'm going to move on to one more team real quick if I can before we get going. So Grand Saline and Edgewood, this is, I think, going to be the 97th anniversary, maybe 96th, 97th anniversary that they've been playing. And like I said, we've already been mouthing back and forth. The kids are mouthing back and forth. The last 2 seasons have come down to a last-second field goal missed by Edgewood, and last year a 2-point conversion missed by Grand Saline. I mean, it's really bringing the rivalry back that I like to see in Van Zandt County. Just like when Van and Canton are being really close and competitive like they were 2 or 3 years ago, it's just a lot of fun to watch. You know, you got kids that know each other, their families know each other. That's the fun part of it, being in Van Zandt County. So Edgewood, let me flip back over here to their group. Edgewood graduated a lot of kids last year. I mean, they had, and I wish TA was here, they had a couple of seniors last year that just did everything. In fact, Edgewood graduated 19 seniors last year. But you read a little further, and it doesn't make me feel any better. Edgewood has about 25 kids on the varsity. Grand Saline's got 24. So losing the seniors didn't kill their numbers. And then they play on October 11th, but they open up this weekend against Commerce. I know that's kind of their routine first game, like I think Grand Saline's has been Cooper the last several years.
Right.
And they're playing at I.T. Jones Memorial Stadium in I.T. James. Anyway, in I.T. James Stadium, my understanding, got a facelift. I saw it when it had a bunch of dirt over there that was being added in. But, David, you had some words to share with us on that earlier about that.
Yeah, it's a new-look stadium. Not only the fact that there's been some improvements within the stadium itself, but the big talk is the new turf football field that they have. And there's a lot of excitement, and I would encourage those in the Edgewood community that if you've not been out recently to see that field and to see the stadium since they've gone through these improvements, I think you're going to be in for quite a treat. So I know the Edgewood football team, coaches, players, they're all so excited about getting a chance to play an actual football game on this turf field. And they're going to be very young this year. 6 seniors total on the team this year. Yeah. And but there is a lot of excitement over there, and they're looking forward to a great year, I know.
Well, and I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to say Edgewood had a bunch of seniors graduate and just a bunch of kids left. They don't have many seniors this year, but I read in your article, David, they only had 10 players when they were in like the 8th grade. So
that's right.
It's not like they've lost kids in high school. Edgewood's still
it's just a small class.
It's just a small class, but you know, in Edgewood and Grand Saline, you know, the football versus basketball, whatever. I don't care what anybody says. Edgewood's still football, in my opinion, and this is going to be important to them. And that stadium getting the facelift that it has, and I believe the game is in Edgewood this year. So, new district, they've flipped it. So Edgewood's going to have 2 home games in a row. They'll be back at their stadium this year on the new turf. So I'm excited about the season for both teams. I think that Edgewood's schedule, I believe they actually played. Let me look. They play Troop. So Troop was in the district last year. So
right.
You'll get I think you'll get a little bit of a gauge on the Edgewood team. I don't know about Commerce that much, but I think after the second week you'll have a pretty good idea of how Edgewood's going to be sitting with the new group that they're kind of bringing in since they've lost all those seniors.
Right.
Well, real quick, before you guys move on from Grand Saline and Edgewood and before we go on to the sponsors, one quick question. If he gets Coach from Grand Saline over here, are you going to call in sick that Huddle show?
No, no, no.
You're going to be able to.
I'll be here.
No, he's going to bring a record book.
I'm going to bring the record book. No, no, no. Listen, I get along great with all of our coaches, and
Absolutely.
we'll talk about this later on, but I think we're really blessed here in Van Zandt County to have the quality of people, quality of coaches that we have in this county at all of our schools. It's a good group.
It really
and, you
is.
know, I don't remember too many seasons when we went through a complete offseason and didn't have a coaching change in the county. Everybody's back from last year, so that's good. That's good. Before we move on to a couple of more teams, let's talk about some of our sponsors, and we do thank our sponsors very much for being with us on the Huddle Show this season. We want to say especially a big thank you to Austin Bank with branches in Van and Grand Saline. Also, Exit Realty Pro, located at 1445 South Buffalo Street in Canton, 903-567-7777. We're also brought to you by Goods Service Station. They're proud to support Van Vandal football and Van Lady Vandal volleyball. They sell service at Goods Service Station, 903-963-7848, located at 172 East Main Street in Van. They now carry farm diesel. We're also brought to you by Dean Kubota, with locations now in 3 areas: Wills Point, Forney, and Frisco. The Wills Point number is 903-873-2451. Forney is 972-552-3151. Frisco is 972-335-2731. We're also brought to you by the Dwayne Wheeler Farmers Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Life, Business, Farm, and Ranch, 903-963-8887, located at 121 West Main in Van. And we're brought to you by 3 Knox Restaurant, located at 427 West Main Street in Van. Barbecue, Bar, and Bistro, 903-833-3000. I'm David Barber, Van Zandt News Newspapers. Here on the Huddle Show, your number one source for football information in Van Zandt County, joined by the counselor Joel Elliott and engineer Ken tonight. T.A. Hale is out of town this evening. He'll be back with us next week. Engineer Ken, do you have something you need to share with us?
I do. Not only are we sponsored by Van Zandt Barbecue and Catering right here on the corner of Buffalo and Dallas, but tonight we also have another sponsor, Richie's Grill and Cafe over in Hawkins. Check this out.
Serving some of the best country cooking in East Texas, Richie's Grill and Cafe in Hawkins starts breakfast at 7 a.m. They have one of the best breakfasts anywhere. Enjoy the lunch and supper, the large variety of entrees. Richie offers daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Richie wants to recognize their Employee of the Week, Chelsea. Check out richie'shlr.com. Open Sunday through Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Thursday through Saturday till 9. Located 3842 FM 2869 in Hawkins. Call 430-276-2300. And Richie's Grill and Cafe, it's food at its finest.
Right, and so that's Richie's Cafe, Richie's Grill and Cafe, and over in Hawkins. So take it away.
All right. Well, I tell you what, how about if we talk about the Fruitvale Bobcats? They've had an interesting offseason. Coach Abshire is back leading the way for the Bobcat program. They have 15 players on their roster. Now, you know, that may not sound like a lot, but we are talking about 6-man football. So 15 players on a 6-man team, that's not bad depth at all. And they are going to be returning to their outlaw schedule once again. They'll not be competing for district championships or playoff spots. But they will get their season started Friday night at Apple Springs in a 7 p.m. kickoff. And Engineer Kim, what in the world is going on? What is about to transpire? What is about to transpire?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages in Van Zandt County, you definitely want to come by and see the food, and then you're going to want to taste it. So we've got some food that's going to be coming over here to us in a moment, and we are going to tell you about the delectable tray that is right here in front of us, and hopefully you're going to get extremely hungry. So we're going to come back to that in just a moment.
It might be
Dave.
hard to concentrate about the Fruitvale Bobcats, but
I know, right?
Sorry, Bobcats.
But no, I tell you, Coach Abshire has. I've had a chance to watch a couple of their practices, and I tell you, there's a lot of enthusiasm out there with that football team right now. And there are 15 kids. I was in my interview with Coach Abshire before the season, during their workouts. I was really impressed by one of these comments that he made. People asking him all the time, what's it like not being able to play for playoffs, participate in postseason play, district championships, and things of that nature. And he says that one of the first things that he asks his players is why. Why are they playing? Why are they getting up early every morning? Why are they coming out for practice? So some people might think that not playing for championships and playoffs is a disadvantage for us. The difference is, in quoting him, I know 100% without a doubt that these 15 kids that I'm coaching are playing because they love the game of football. They enjoy working hard, and they enjoy having fun. And he says, I'm not sure every coach can say that about his team. I thought that was a great quote by Coach Abshire and kind of summarizes what their program is like right now. But I expect them to be improved this season. They are going to be changing their offense this year. Last year they were more of a power game, running style offense. But he says with the personnel he has on board this year, he feels like he can spread it out more. And as he pointed out to me, he says that doesn't mean we're going to throw the ball 80% of the time. But he is looking for more offensive balance, and he thinks he's going to be able to spread defenses out a little more than they were able to do in the past. So he's optimistic about what they're going to be able to put out on the field this season.
The thing about Fruitvale, at least for the last 2 years and then apparently for the next 2 years, there's certain conferences in college that just don't get to participate in championships, and it's kind of the same thing. You really do have to be playing just because you love it. And there was a coach that I heard say one time, you kids are lucky. Y'all are getting out there to go do things that are going to be crimes the rest of your life. and there's a lot of character that's going to be built in a game that you really do have to put your physical well-being, your conditioning, and everything into it. And when you got kids that are doing it for the right reason, and without any question, it's not like the season could go bad. They're still not going to go any worse than the playoffs. The season could go great. They're out there that they're truly there because they're loving the game. And that is something that is really quality about those kids that can be said. I hope, my understanding is Fruitvale also is going to be having a baseball team this year, got a coach and things along that line. I think they're expecting growth. What I hope happens in Fruitvale, I hope they get enough growth to play six-man football and be able to make the playoffs. I hope they don't get so much growth that they leapfrog six-man and then end up playing 11-man and not having enough players.
Right.
I do think that just athletically, Fruitvale is going to be competitive if they can get in the league and do that. And what they're doing right now is, it's just showing the rest of the younger kids, this is something y'all need to be looking forward to. And, when I was growing up, Alba Golden didn't have football. There was another school that's somewhere around here that didn't have football. And I remember thinking, man, those kids, when they're growing up, what are they looking forward to? And that's one of the things that those kids over there right now can say is, they're walking around with the jerseys on. The kids are going to be there on Friday night. They're going to have homecoming. They're going to be doing just like every other school and having the same spirit. And hopefully the young kids, as Fruitvale grows, will continue to want to keep doing that.
Right, exactly. I mentioned they have 15 players on their roster. Here's the makeup of their team. 4 seniors, 2 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 6 freshmen. So they're young. Mm-hmm. But they're going to be able to have some experience playing together this season, and I think the sky's the limit for this program moving forward. So we definitely wish them well. They go to Apple Springs Friday night, 7 o'clock, and they'll have their home opener next week against Avalon.
And do you know where Apple Springs is?
I do not.
I'm going to look it up.
Well,
so it is 106 miles away in Trinity County. So you're talking about down close to Lufkin.
Pretty good trip then.
Yeah, it's a bit of a haul. Now, I also want to say this about Grand Saline. I don't know if the other towns are. I think Grand Saline has a game this season that's going to be in Joaquin. Okay.
And Joaquin is real close to the Louisiana border.
Yeah, I mean it's a ride. It's about the same as going down to Apple Springs, except you're on the border with the Louisianans.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Well, I'll go ahead and talk about the Van Vandals right now. The Vandals are coming off an 8-4 season from last year. Got to the area round before losing to Aubrey. They only had 10 seniors on their team last year, so they bring back a lot of experienced players. 3-year starter at quarterback, Jackson Moffitt, Coach Moffitt's son, and Jackson's twin brother, Austin Moffitt, is also back at running back for the Vandals. So definitely some experienced players there, and on both offense and defense. Offense is going to have a little bit of a different look, might be a little bit of a shock to the Vandal fans when they go see them play for the first time this season. If they hadn't seen them in the scrimmages, Van is going to play with a tight end this year on offense. And I asked Coach Moffitt, I said, when's the last time you had a tight end on offense? And he said when he was an assistant at Denton Ryan. And so that's been over 15 years ago. But
the last time Van did was before he was there.
That's right. And so but this move was necessitated by the fact that their backup quarterback, who played JV quarterback last year, had a growth spurt. He ended the JV season last year with at 6'4" and 195 pounds. He is now 6'5" and 220. And I'm talking about Ryder Savage. He's a junior this year. Scheduled to be the backup quarterback. He has now moved into the role of tight end.
And what year is he?
He's a junior this year. And so he will be the quarterback next year for the Vandals. But I tell you, in these two scrimmages, I've seen the red-white scrimmage and also the scrimmage last Thursday night against Palestine. He's looked very good in that tight end role. So I think he's going to be a real weapon for him offensively, going over the middle and catching passes. But
you'd expect a quarterback at receiver to have pretty soft hands, and if he's playing tight end, that will be a big benefit.
Right. But they got a lot of familiar faces coming back. I think they feel real good about their team. I'm sure they're wondering what the UIL or what they did to the UIL to make them mad at them because of the district they got put in. They got put into the district with the defending state champion Gilmer Buckeyes and also Texarkana Pleasant Grove, which I believe went to either the quarterfinals or semifinals in state last year. And the other teams in that district are Spring Hill that they defeated in the playoffs last year. Also, Pittsburgh and Paris North Lamar are in that district. The tough part, not only playing Gilmer and Texarkana Pleasant Grove, is that they'll have both of those games on the road this year. So it's going to be quite a challenge for the Vandals. But their non-district schedule, as you see there, Joel, is going to be a challenge as well, starting with this Friday night. To my knowledge, this is the first ever football meeting between Van and Dallas Carter. And I don't even remember Van playing a Dallas ISD school of any kind in the past. I may be wrong on that, but I sure don't remember it. But Dallas Carter is where they're heading, to Kincaid Stadium. Nice stadium. I've never been there, but I hear it's a very nice stadium. And Friday night, 7:30. And the Carter Cowboys are not what they were back in the days of Friday Night Lights. Their enrollment has dropped quite a bit, and they're now a 4A Division I school, Van's Division II. But Carter has a couple of new looks on their offense, a new quarterback, a transfer from Arlington Seguin, is going to be their quarterback this year. And then they have a slot receiver that also plays running back at times, and they put him all over the field in various formations. They do have great speed, and they are picked to win their district this year. Dallas Carter is. So this is a very, very good football team the Vandals will be opening up against Friday night, 7:30, and be curious to see how they do. I'll be there and see how things go, but the Vandals are I think, for another good season.
And just looking at this, how is Lindale going to be this year?
I tell you, Coach Moffitt made a kind of quite a statement about Lindale this year. He said, I know they've been to state, but he said, I think in the 15 years I've been at Van, this might be the best overall Lindale team this season.
So here's when I say I'm going to say something about Van that I wish I wasn't saying, it's because I don't like Van. But but
really,
so here's the
Who'd have thunk it?
So this is what I'm looking at with their schedule. If they, because I kind of thought Lindale was going to be good, and I think Van will hold their own, if not beat Lindale. If they're undefeated when they go to Gilmer, that's the thing about Van, and Moffitt usually finds a way to make things work. If they're able to go into Gilmer undefeated, getting rid of Carthage, that was, even with those two teams on the schedule, I'd rather have both of them than Carthage, because I think that Van, like I said, I don't like it. I think if they beat Lindale, then I think that if they roll into Gilmer undefeated, I think that Van's got a good shot at doing. I mean, they've got a senior quarterback. They've got a good, solid group coming back. I don't like that Van looks like they're going to have another good season.
Well, I will say this. In this district that Van is in this season, you do not want to finish fourth, because if you finish fourth, you're going to play Carthage in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, Lord.
So don't finish fourth. But should be an interesting district race coming up for sure.
Well, gentlemen, how many more teams do we have to
We've
discuss?
got two more to discuss.
Two more. Well, I think we should take a little break.
Well, I was going to say I do have some more sponsors to share. I can do that now or later.
Well, why don't you go ahead and share those sponsors, and then we will start talking about the feast that has been laid out before us. And I think headphone cords and stuff, we can probably stand up and go over in that direction if you want.
Okay.
Or you can go and grab and come back. Your choice.
Okay. Well, let me just share with you some of our sponsors, and we're happy to have these sponsors with us this evening. Legacy Dental Group, family dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, oral surgery, orthodontics, and sedation dentistry. They're located at 240 East Highway 243 in Canton. 903-508-2923. We're brought to you by the Rick John State Farm Insurance Agency at 100 North 4th Street in Wills Point. 903-873-2858. Auto, Home, Life, and Health. We're brought to you by Robertson Electric, commercial and residential air conditioning and heating service. Free estimates. 2 locations. Wills Point, 903-873-2461. Terrell is 972-563-5254. Brought to you by M Squared Management, LLC, Property Management Company. They're located at 1455 South Buffalo Street in Canton, 903-502-0202. We're brought to you by Craft 64 Burgers and Sports. They also have Taco Casa, Duke's, Smokehouse 64 barbecue over there as well. 30176 State Highway 64 in Canton. And we're brought to you by You Rent It, sales and service for the home, farm, job, and play. 3 locations. Terrell is 2280 Westmore on Highway 80 at 972-524-7368. Rockwall, 1725 TL Townsend, Highway 276. 972-771-1885, and in Gun Barrel City at 201 East Texas Road, 903-887-7368. I'm David Barber with Van Zant Newspapers, joined by the counselor, Joel Elliott, and Engineer Ken. T.A. Hale not with us tonight. He'll be back with us next week. And, Joel, what in the world have you brought to the table?
Well, I'm handing it to you. There's a rib.
Oh,
I
my
think
gosh.
that's pulled pork. 2 different kinds of sausage, and then that's some kind of bacon-wrapped stuff.
So here's what you've got, gentlemen.
Gigantic pepper.
Here's what you've got here. One of these trays over here is called the sampler. There are 5 meats and 3 sides of mouth-watering barbecue with a taste of pecan smoke and homemade sides straight out of Nanny's cookbook. Check that out.
Oh.
They're also sitting over there is a loaded baked potato with butter, sour cream, cheese, and topped with chopped brisket. Hold on. Oh, my goodness. Okay, now here's some really more interesting stuff. They have Texas Twinkies. You're going to like this. That's a slice of brisket with cream cheese, stuffed jalapeno wrapped in it, and bacon and topped with their very own special seasoning, smoked to perfection. Try dipping it in their house ranch. As a matter of fact, they also have Nanny's banana pudding, peach cobbler, and berry cobbler over here. Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. This is, David is chowing down a little bit, and right now Joel is lining himself up a little bit of this. What are you thinking so far, David?
I think it's just fine. Thank you very much.
Just fine? That's
Just
it?
fine.
Not great, just fine.
No, fine is great.
It is great. All right. Well, hey, we're actually having a very good time with this. We only got 2 more teams. It's funny, you know, when TA's not here, you guys kind of went through this a little quicker, which is nice.
Well,
So does that mean TA's the talker?
I get paid by the hour instead of the words, so I've learned to be cost efficient with my words.
All right. Well, hey, while this is going on, let me post this right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Van Zant Barbecue and Catering. You definitely want to come out and give them a try.
Be sure to tune in each Tuesday night during the football season for the KWJB Huddle Show. You are invited to join the Buzz Brothers, David Barber, and DJ Ken at 6 p.m. at the Van Zant Barbecue and Catering on the Square in Canton to discuss Van Zant County football.
All right. So these guys are sampling some more of this, but man, it looks great. I think Junior's probably going to run off with some.
I'll just go ahead, and I know Joe will want to get in on this conversation about the Wills Point Tigers, but I had a chance to be at their media day a couple weeks ago, and the Tigers, and as Coach Boxley pointed out to me, the head coach, that it was good to see the continuity in their coaching staff that they have this season. This is Coach Boxley's 2nd full season as head coach. He was the interim coach before that. But he has both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator back from last season. The Tiger program definitely improved last season by advancing to the playoffs. But as Coach Boxley pointed out to me, we don't want to just be a playoff qualifier. We want to be a team that wins in the playoffs. So they are looking to take that next step with their program. And they've got several really good players coming back, including their quarterback, Jack Fletcher, who is, as Coach Boxley pointed out, an outstanding leader in the huddle and ready to lead that Wills Point offense this season. I think they're going to have a really good year. I know they're in a tough district with Sunnyvale, but Wills Point, I think, is going to be able to hold their own pretty well in this district race.
You know, I think we always knew that. I mean, there were a couple of weird years for Wills Point, and there was a million reasons we could talk about. But I think when Boxley finally got the steering wheel back in his hand, and he's taken over, I think last year was just them realizing, hey, we're still pretty good.
Right.
You know, I'm used to Wills Point being consistently competitive.
Right.
Even on their down years, they're still competitive. So I expect now that he's got a season under his belt and they've made the playoffs, I think what he's saying, I believe him. I think that Wills Point's going to get back to being Wills Point. They're always used it. I say always. Before COVID, it seemed like every year at the start of the season they had hopes of winning districts. So if they're back to that kind of role, then we've got another touch hog in the county.
And I was talking about the continuity in their coaching staff. He only had to make 2 changes on his coaching staff this season, and one of them was moving a junior high coach up to the varsity. So really, he only had to go out and hire one new coach to his staff. So that gives a lot of stability, and the kids know the system coming into this season. They know what to expect offensively and defensively. That gives them a great advantage starting a new season.
Well, and I think kids, for a high school kid, I think sometimes as adults we look at it and we think, oh, well, you're changing out a coach, you're trying to make things better, but kids need to trust somebody. They need to feel connected. And for a coach, you want the kids to want not to impress you, but to not have you upset with them. Your kids that believe in the coach and believe in the system, it's just a lot more valuable for your whole team when you've got that going on. And I think that Boxley, the way that he's come in and taken the reins, and he's running it like his. He's
right.
Made it his. He's got his coaches here. He's got everybody the way he wants it. And in doing that, Wills Point's always had the athletes to do it. And if he's going to get in there and he's got his group with him, then I think Wills Point's about to see a big change.
I agree, and they will open up their schedule Friday night. We were talking earlier about Van and Dallas Carter meeting for the first time ever. Wills Point and Crum are meeting for the first time ever on the football field. So they've got a pretty good trip over toward Denton to play the Crum Bobcats, and then their next game the following week, another long road trip to go to Venus.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
So the first 2 games are away, and
so Maybank is about as close as they're going to get until they get into districts. So you got Crum, then Venus, Maybank somewhat close. Farmersville isn't close, and neither is Waxahachie. So until they have their bye week, they're going to have this season and next. Their first part of the season are against teams that aren't just right around the corner. And I don't know that you'd call Maybank right around the corner, but that's about as close as it's going to get until they reach district.
Right. And so far as their district is concerned, I think Sunnyvale definitely goes in as the favorite in that district. But I think the Tigers, I think the Canton Eagles that we're going to talk about here in a minute, I think Sunnyvale is going to have some competition in this district race. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Sunnyvale is going to win it. But I guess we can transition now, and unless there's something else you want to add about the Tigers, we'll talk about the Canton Eagles now. And I guess the biggest news I've got about them is the fact that they named their starting quarterback for Friday night. Reed Van Orsdale, senior, who played quarterback in their Wildcat formations last season. He's also a starting free safety on defense. Reed Van Orsdale, Coach Regal named him in the time I was interviewing him yesterday. He named Reed as the starting quarterback for Friday night in their opener at home against Nevada Community. I think most everyone probably knows by now that Nathan Parker, senior, scheduled to be their 3-year starting quarterback this season, got hurt in Summer League baseball. Hurt his arm and had to have the Tommy John surgery, so he will not be playing football this season. That opened the door for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 candidates to compete for the starting quarterback job. 1 freshman, 1 sophomore, 1 junior, and one senior. And so when the dust settled after 2 scrimmages, Reed Van Orsdale, the senior, is going to start. Now, because of that, especially the early part of the season, with the heat being a factor, it's probably going to cut down on Reed's playing time on defense at free safety. So that's something they're going to have to monitor. But I know Coach Regal believes that Reed Van Orsdale gives them the best chance to win at the quarterback position. So it's going to be an interesting start to the season to see how everybody adjusts to a new quarterback. And from talking to Coach Regal, he's confident that Reed Van Orsdale is going to be his quarterback for the entire season moving forward.
Well, and I think, in Regal's position, it's hard not to make that call because he's wanting to solidify what's best for the team.
Right.
And once you have the guy in place, then it kind of alleviates all the questions. Everybody kind of feels secure, and then they can focus on the opponent. But the one thing that I've seen over the last couple of years, I think Regal is here to stay. I mean,
Yes.
and having had a son who played for two different coaches here, I wish that he had been here. I think he's the kind of coach that you want to have your kid play for. I think that he's wanting to teach them, and like you said, I think we have a good group of coaches in Van Zandt County that do a good job just as trying to help raise young men, not just win football games. But I think Regal is I think he's here to stay. It's rare that a guy gets to come back to his hometown and coach. And I think that he's here to do what he thinks is going to be best for all the kids and win. And I just like, and down to the fact that they're wearing black uniforms at home games some. I love everything that he has done with Canton and wish he'd been here when my kid was playing because I would have bought a black jersey and worn it in the stands. So I'm loving what Regal's doing here.
Well, I'm sure at some point early in the preparations for this season. Yes, sir.
Pull your mic down.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I was trying to not chew and talk at the same time here. But Coach Regal, boy, I just lost my train of thought. What I was going to say. I'm sure it was going to be something brilliant. But no, I know what it was now. He shared a story with me about the start of their August workouts. First day, their workout was scheduled for nighttime, and electricity went out at the high school. So they are suiting out, dressing in the dark. They ended up practicing their outdoor practice finished in the dark. And then, of course, they had to dress again, and there was all kinds of cell phone lights filtering throughout the field house inside. He said in his 19 years of coaching, that's the first time that's ever happened to him, about a blackout during practice. But and then, couple that with the fact he goes into this season knowing that his senior 3-year starting quarterback's not even going to play it down this season. I'm sure at some point he was probably thinking, wow, this is not starting out quite like I wanted it to. But things have definitely settled down. He's got his quarterback ready to go for Friday night, and I think they're going to compete well in this district. I really do.
And the thing with the quarterback, I had heard during the summer, I knew there was an injury and everything, and I didn't follow it all the way through camp. But I do like the fact that he has named somebody and not left it in limbo. I think that was the thing to do to where that's not an issue that anybody's even having to think about going into the season. So I got high hopes for Canton too, but for two reasons. One, I think Regal's doing a good job, but two, not only did we get out of the district with Carthage, we're not in that district with you guys.
Well,
and the two Tush Hogs y'all are in there with.
Yeah, I should have mentioned earlier that Van's schedule this season, not one team is from Van Zandt County. But Canton and Wills Point are together this year in the district, so that brings back that old rivalry. So that will be good to see. Canton will open Friday night at home against Nevada Community. That'll be a 7:30 kickoff, so Engineer Ken, when you get a chance, you might fill us in on the pregame and what else is going on with the broadcast on the B.
Well, we will be broadcasting probably at about 30 minutes before start of game, which I don't know when does it start?
7:30.
Hopefully I'll get there before 7:30.
Yeah. So your broadcast time is going to be 7?
Yeah, 7:15, somewhere in that area, depending on when my prima donnas get there, the Buzz Brothers. You know how that goes. And I don't mean anything ugly by it. I don't. But and that's because I'm focusing right now on all this barbecue that we've got. You know, I'm telling you what, those Texas Twinkies, that jalapeno with the cream cheese and the brisket and wrapped in the bacon. You know what else I've liked about this barbecue? Is typically when you go get barbecue, as I've aged, I find that the smoke causes me a lot of indigestion at night. But you can taste the smoke flavor in this, but it's not overly smoky.
I'm not covering it in sauce either.
It's
tasty with no sauce.
That's exactly it. There's sauce up there if you wanted it, but I didn't have any sauce on it. It was really good.
And it's really good.
As a matter of fact, check this out. The guy who does this, Van Zandt Barbecue Company, will actually be competing on September the 7th at South Fork Ranch in Parker, Texas, at a smokeout festival cook-off. So they actually compete a lot in that as well. So there you have it.
It's all good.
It's all very good. Now, so we'll be broadcasting this Friday night, probably 7:10. Depends on how long-winded my brothers feel like they're going to be, and we'll have Tommy Day and TA will be there broadcasting.
Can I go ahead and just mention it's a couple of weeks away, but the special night that Canton's going to be having at Norris Birdwell Stadium on Friday the 13th of all nights, Friday the 13th of September, the 1964 Canton High School football team will be celebrating their 60th team celebration this year.
Really?
They are going to be recognized not only at halftime at the football game, they're also going to have earlier in the day, a Texas historical marker dedicated in their honor at the stadium. I think that's set for 3 o'clock that afternoon.
Oh, my goodness.
And then the recognition at halftime. Interesting story about this 64 football team. And Joel, you may not be aware of this. This team not only went undefeated in the regular season, they were not even scored on.
Now, here's how
during
much
the
I know
regular
about
season.
it. I'm going to let you finish your story, and then we'll tell you why that's got a little bit of a twist to it.
Then they enter the playoffs, and I believe they win their first game 7-6. They lose in the next round 6-0. But for the entire season, they gave up a grand total of 13 points.
This is true. And I worked with Ricky Ray for years, who was on that team. And he passed away, I believe, last year. So I heard a lot of details over the years. and they played my dad's team in Grand Saline. They played Dean White's team in Van. So I've heard that they played Richard Davis's team in Wills Point. So it seems like there's a doctor or a lawyer on all the teams in this county that played back then. They did get scored on, but there was an illegal lineman downfield in Grand Saline that got it called back. Otherwise, Grand Saline would have had the only points during the season.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, those guys, now, my dad's one of the only ones still alive. Dean and Ricky are both dead. But they argued about those teams. Here I sit talking about me and Paul Cates talking about the Edgewood Grand Slam stuff. But I've listened to them argue about football in court before. And so I will say this. The next year after that, I think Wills Point won state, if I remember right.
65.
65,
Wills
yeah.
Point won
So the same, Richard Davis was on both of those teams. So I've heard the stories from all of them, but that team, Dean Hess showed up as their coach when those seniors in that class were freshmen, and the story is that he walked in there and set them all down, and he pointed at the freshmen. He said, "Y'all are going to be on my first district championship team," and then in 3 years, that's what he did with them. And he had played, I believe, for the New York Giants maybe, and played college ball somewhere. But Dean Hess, I believe, unless he's just recently died, he was spoke at Mr. Ray's funeral last year. But that team is incredible, and it is good that they're doing this. And I'm happy for Canton and being able to finally get something.
But to me, the
that.
remarkable thing is that they're going to have a Texas historical marker dedicated
Right.
in their honor.
And they're going to be building a new school and a
Yes.
new state.
As a matter of fact, I think they have scheduled all that for the same day.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
groundbreaking.
Well, you might as well make an event out of it.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Friday
know,
the
right?
13th.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, do we have any more business before we?
No. Do you have any more sponsors to
You
reach
know,
out to?
I do have another round of those. Now, what did I do with my list?
I think you ate it.
Is it sitting
Did I eat it?
You might have wrapped it in.
sitting under this potato?
Ah, yes, it's sitting under the potato. Can I just quickly
That's not
run
a potato.
over?
That's a football.
That's what it looks like.
Let me run through one more round here. We are brought to you by Elliott and Waldron Abstract and Title Company of Canton, 681 West Dallas Street in Canton, 903-567-4127. We're brought to you by Legacy Ag Credit, financing your legacy. Rural Land, Country Homes, operating capital, farms and ranches, livestock and equipment, 903-567-2251. We're brought to you by Taylor Automotive, located at 27928 Highway 64, 903-567-3948 in Canton. Also brought to you by PR Equipment, located in Canton and Kearns. The Canton number is 903-865-1616. Quality Farm Equipment, parts, sales, and service. Also brought to you by Epic Industrial, the power of service. They're wishing best of luck to all Van Zandt County High School football teams. And we're brought to you by Hall Chevrolet GMC in Canton, 903-567-4106. I have no other business. Do you have other business, sir?
Well, I do. I want to give it another shout out to Van Zandt Barbecue and Catering, and also Richie's Grill and Cafe over in Hawkins. But I will play their episodes right after this.
Yes, and I will mention also that your broadcast, again, is Friday night, 7 o'clock, pregame, 7:30 kickoff. And over on the sister station, if I can find that schedule, I may not be able to find it, but they have 3 games going on this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And can't seem to find, I think I may have found my schedule here. Yes, Thursday night, Hallsville at Lindale is going to be their main game at 7:30 p.m. Also, Dangerfield at Gladewater will be a bonus game that kicks off at 7 o'clock Thursday night. KMU's also going to have live coverage at Maud at Hawkins Friday night, 7:30. The bonus game will be Pine Tree at Gilmer, also at 7:30. And then Saturday night, Winona at Big Sandy, 7 p.m. All those games on KMU this week.
All right.
Now, I do want to say one quick thing before you get me off here. Don't give up on the pick'ems.
That's right.
TA's not here. We don't know what happened. Oofy and TA,
We're thinking Oofy may be with TA.
yeah, they may be in jail. So, and we hadn't seen Junior.
You haven't had you haven't had a request for bail yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have that sorted out and have our pick'em back next week also.
All right. And in the meantime, remember, love is a nose, and you better not pick it.
That's right. And on that note, for DJ Ken, Engineer Ken, and for the counselor, Joel Elliott, I'm David Barber, the Godfather. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you to the staff of Van Zandt Barbecue Company. Until next week, we will sign off and say that you've been listening to the Huddle Show on the B.
Richie's Grill and Cafe in Hawkins serves some of the best country cooking in East Texas. Starting at 7 a.m., start with some of the best breakfast in East Texas. Enjoy their large variety of entrees. Enjoy their burgers, sandwiches, fajitas, quesadillas. They offer daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Richie wants to recognize their Employee of the Week, Christy. Check out richieshlr.com. Open Sunday through Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 8, Thursday through Saturday till 9. Located 3842 FM 2869 in Hawkins. Call 430 330-276-2300. At Richard's Grill and Cafe, it's food at its finest. Van Zant Barbecue and Catering on the Square in Canton has really good barbecue. Serving lunch and supper, Van Zant Barbecue offers plates with several choices of meats and a variety of sandwiches. Van Zant County Barbecue serves a large group with meat by the half pound. Ask about their Tuesday special. Enjoy their homemade sides and dessert. Located 105 South Buffalo Street in Canton. Call 869-1319. They're open Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7, Friday and Saturday to late, and Sunday at First Monday Trades Day. At Van Zant County Barbecue, it's legit Texas barbecue.